You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. First timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Eric Bell. Bell Insurance Solutions is with us. Welcome.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you with us. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, of course, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Let's see. No, we're not going to celebrate the Dream Team. Those of you that wanted me to celebrate the Dream Team, no, we're not going there. Did you see that one? I can't believe that anybody would really put something like that out, but it's going to be the joke of the next 9 months. You know, it's pretty nice. There is a benefit to us living in Calizuela. See, because we've got a one-party state, we don't get nearly as many political ads as you would get in a swing state. Josh, you probably get a lot of political ads over there, don't you? Yeah, he's in Nevada. He lives back in America. Calizuela, you know, they take us all for granted here. But today is having beaten anorexia. I am going to go out there and say today is National Blonde Brownie Day. Donna, are you listening? Yeah, Blonde Brownie Day. Our friends make some really good brownies, blonde brownies. I'm drooling over here, but I better look at the stock market and see what's going on there. Let's take a look. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 142 points. The S&P 500 is up 15. The NASDAQ up 74. Oil up $1.40 a barrel right now. Let's take a look. Do we want to know about it? Josh got to see this firsthand. You know, he's over there in Nevada where it's $3.80 a gallon is the statewide average. Probably paying what, about $3.20, Josh? Give or take in Nevada? In Vegas? Yeah. Right here, Calizuela, $4.53 a gallon. $4.53. You were over here in California over the weekend. What did you have to pay in California? Where did you find, Josh? People's Republic of California, right, Joe? So, yeah, Josh was over here. He got to come out here and $4.65. That's not too bad. Not too bad, being that we're at $4.52 is our statewide average. So you found somewhere good to get gasoline. Let's see what else we've got going on. Yeah, well, Arian's paying $2.68, my loan assistant. $2.68 a gallon. Ugh. Unbelievable. She's in Mississippi, though. Okay, let's see what else we've got going on here. This fascinates me, just watching what's going on here. Nikki Haley's the sole survivor in the group of the first losers. So, you know, I'm listening to some of her late things in New Hampshire. And either, you know, I think she's a smart lady. Now, if she doesn't drop out by Wednesday or Thursday, I might have to rethink that, because she certainly knows she's not going to win. And do you think she wants to go to South Carolina, her home turf, and lose on her home ground? I think she's going to drop out before she gets here. What do you think? Put that in the comments. Tell me your thoughts on that. Let's take a look at one other number. Look at the 10-year Treasury down a little bit this morning. 4.1 is the 10-year Treasury. Why do I look at that every morning? Well, because I watch the entire market every morning, but the 10-year Treasury is one of the leading indicators for mortgage rates. So we're constantly watching that one to make sure where do we forecast rates are going. And here's an issue. I'm going to just throw this out there for you because I had this come up last week or the week before last. Client had come to me. I showed him how he could buy a house. Fascinating because everybody else that he talked to said that he couldn't do it. And my comment to him was, tell those that say you can't do it, get out of the way from those who tell you how to do it. Well, it was real nice of him. He took all the notes that he got from me and sent them to somewhere else. And they came in a little bit cheaper than we were. Very little amount. But here's the issue. Do you want the rate that's the best rate when you start your loan process or when you finish the loan process? It's a trick question. You probably want the best rate anytime throughout the process. Now, do I have a crystal ball telling you exactly where rates are going? No. But when you study the markets, and that's why I do study the markets, when you're studying the markets, you get an idea of what's going on. So right now, we have something in the charts, and you only use the charts when there's not a lot of news out there. And we weren't going to have a lot of news until the PCE comes out at the end of the week. Right now, I'm going to tell you what happened in the market is we've got something called a golden cross. What is a golden cross? It tells us that interest rates are going to get better over time. So would we want to be locking in a loan right now knowing interest rates are going to get better over time? Well, the answer to that is it depends. What is your time horizon and what is your risk tolerance? Got to know all these different components. When you go into a big bank on the corner, and I say this with all due respect, not like Mike McDaniel did from the Dolphins, but with all due respect, my eldest son worked for Bank of America. He was a teller one day. A couple months later, he's a personal banker. And as a personal banker, then what he does is he calls people and gives them some mortgage information. His knowledge of the mortgage world is strictly osmosis, what he's heard me telling other people. But if that's the process of how they go through this, and other people are out giving mortgage advice with the same level of knowledge that my son had, and I love my son to death, do anything for him. But if the bank is having him give mortgage advice, I'm just going to say I feel bad for the people getting the advice. You need to go somewhere that's professional. You need to have as I've mentioned before, I call it your household board of directors. What is a household board of directors? Just like Apple has, just like any major company has. The CEO, that would be you in your household, or maybe your spouse. But the board of directors needs help. They need guidance. They need people that know. And if you're smart, you want people that know more than you. You need a realtor if you're looking at real estate. You need a financial planner. You need a CPA or enrolled agent. You need insurance people. And I'm going to tell you, even insurance people, what you need to do is you need to do your homework. Now, I'm not going to say anything about policygenius.com. I'm not going to say that name on the air. I'm not going to say policygenius.com. But just throw that out there and then ask the professionals what that means. Because I just got a policy from somebody and it was significantly cheaper, but you got to compare. Now, do I know what to compare on the policy? No. But I know where to find people who do. That's the idea. Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to learn a little bit about ways to legally minimize your taxes. 3 must-dos when selling your house in 2024 and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Yes, they have the Home Select product. It is only for savvy investors, savvy borrowers, because it is totally unique. And yes, I did just show a gentleman who is in financial services how the Home Select product will take his 30-year loan that he's had for 5 years, his 3% interest-only payment or pricing, and drop it to an effective APR of 2.006, no traditional mortgage payment, and oh yeah, it'll be paid off in 7.25 years if he follows the program. 7.25 years instead of the remaining 25 that he has. If you want more information on that, give me a call and I will share that with you. But every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated, no APR, no points paid, no points received. They just calculate it from actual locked rates with 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. So they've got a big market share. This is Friday's numbers. Can't get much more accurate. They're current than that. 30-year conforming loans, 6.725. 30-year jumbo loans, 7.408. 30-year FHA loans, 6.511. 30-year USDA loan, 6.524. And the best loan on the market for those that earned it. And oh yeah, our team is the number one lending team in America, Homes for Heroes. But the 30-year VA loan, 6.227. Love our veterans. If you want our mortgage guidance, we do put out a report as early as the data will allow each day. rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. You can get that. Just go to the website. It's free to you, rsrmarketminute.com. Now, I gave you what's going on yesterday. Do you want to know what's going on today? Well, the S&P 500, it's up 11.87. 10-year Treasuries down 5 basis points, 4.09, so call it 4.1. And the mortgage-backed security, that one's up 9 basis points. Remember, when the bond goes up, the yield or the rate goes down. So we always want to see, if you're thinking about getting a mortgage, you want to see the 10-year Treasury yield go down and the bond go up. Just the way it works. Why? Well, we have a couple of big financial houses that came out, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, came out and their bond people said, buy the dip on the 5-year Treasury, saying buy that bond because you can make two monies in Treasuries. You make money if the bond itself goes up, and you make money if you're just sitting in it holding with the interest rate or the yield. So they're saying that the bond might be going up. Just throwing that out there. That's their commentary, not mine. But when they've got that much clout and they're advising that many people who blindly follow their guidance, it can move the market. I told you about the technical issue of what we were talking about earlier, being that in the absence of any of the data, technicals really take over the golden cross pattern that we're seeing in the charts. I'm not going to get into it because you'd probably get bored. The end of the week, we're going to get the personal consumption expenditures report. That is the Federal Reserve's favorite measure of inflation. So we'll be watching that one for you. And we watch everything going on in the markets for any of our private clients. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And if you're watching us on any of our socials right now, go ahead and just chime in and tell us where you're watching from. And love to say hello to you. That is the Mortgage Minute, again, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. Let's chat about insurance, strategies, maybe deferring tax strat. I love talking tax strategies because I think it was Benjamin Franklin, I may have it wrong, that said you're not really responsible for paying anything more than what the law requires in taxes. So if there is a way to follow the law and minimize your tax liability, to me, that's good. And I don't say that's avoiding your fair share, because the government takes more than their fair share and they waste it, my opinion. But let's chat with Eric Bell this morning because he has some guidance on this and some thoughts. Good morning.
Good morning, Ron.
So taxes.
Yeah.
We're right in that time period right now where, unfortunately, people think that they do tax planning right now. And I say that tax planning is done from May through December, and February, March, April, you just pay the bill.
And November and December are the dates that you are panicking.
Right.
those 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just figured out I got this bill coming up, and what am I going to do?
Yeah. No. I think the 2 biggest things that will mess some people up are tax and your health. Those 2 biggest things that will take away your wealth: tax and health.
And sometimes the tax takes your wealth, so then it's 1 + 1 = 3, and you're in trouble.
That's right. That's right.
I had
That's
good
right.
health until I looked at my tax bill.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways, for businesses and individuals to reduce their taxes. But you got to have an open mind. Someone told me books, umbrellas, and the minds don't work unless they're open.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to be open-minded to it. Be willing to go ahead and listen. Listen costs you nothing, and then try to move forward with some different things.
Well, one of the things I talk about on here frequently is we bring on thoughts that are completely different, and just because we bring them on and share them doesn't mean they're right for everybody, but they're the questions that we open up are probably right for everybody.
No, I agree. I mean, it's not a one-stop shop. What one person does for their business, one can't do for the other business, and same thing on an individual basis. And then we were talking earlier, Ron, when you look at the families nowadays, you might have children from a previous marriage, combining households. It gets complicated.
Yeah, it is a complication that I don't know anybody. I see Jeff Clark is with us. Good morning, Jeff. I don't know anybody that really that I've come across. Maybe you have that is the jack of all, where you can get every piece of information you need.
No, it takes a team.
Right?
One person can't be all things to everybody, or one company can't be all things to everybody. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you and I were just chatting before we went on air that you've got a firm where you're helping people going from a tax planning standpoint into the next steps or areas. Still need the CPA, but I assume you're not a CPA and a tax person.
No,
me neither. We don't give tax advice, but we understand enough to say, hey, let's talk to the CPA about this. And as long as they don't have a big ego and they're willing to learn,
that's hard. That's hard to find without a big ego. Most CPAs got pretty big egos.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got the attorneys out there that need that we can help, and not that we know more than they do.
Right.
But in one tiny sphere, we might have something that we can share.
Well, it's a collaboration. We're going to share something with you. Take the time to learn it for your client and see if it's going to benefit them. It's kind of that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a real challenge.
No.
So just I guess to kick things off is, where do you think taxes are going? Are they going to go up, down, sideways?
I don't think we have a choice. When you look at how our spending is right now, we're at $34 trillion. 4 things over the federal budget go to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and just the interest on our debt, which is continually growing. And that was before we bailed out the Ukraine, before we started doing stuff in Israel, and also the Palestinian relief, I guess. We're spending a lot of money. So, it leaves 8 cents for a lot of different things. The list is long: child nutrition programs, Homeland Security, food and safety inspection, DEA, FBI. I mean, the list is long, but we got 8 cents left to spend on all those different things. The White House, Congress. So I'm
going to challenge you on that a little.
All right, go ahead.
So I was on the phone the other day with a gentleman, and he had the same concept. In fact, he's going to be on the program the middle of next month.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, taxes have to go up, and for the same reasons, right? He said, even if we cut out 100% of our discretionary spending, we still are in the red.
Yeah.
And he happens to be in the fitness industry, or was. And my comment or my thought, because I didn't challenge him, I'll do it on the air, is I can't exercise enough to lose weight, right? I've got to stop eating.
Okay.
I'm going to challenge the idea on the taxes. We can't tax enough to get out of this problem.
No, not right now. No.
But what we really have to do, the only solution I think there is spending, number one, where we can. I mean, I'm a big defense guy, but I think there's waste in the Defense Department. But I think that if we can increase the revenue side, that's going to be an easier way of getting out of things than the idea of taxing more.
Well, the only source of revenue for the government is tax.
It is. The revenue is tax, but in many instances we've seen where when various leaders of ours will lower taxes, the revenue goes up. So because business goes out there and makes more revenue,
Yeah, that's correct.
and tax, and the taxes go up. So I don't know if they can tax us more as far as from a tax rate, but we pay more by the private sector going out there and being more innovative.
Well, Ron, when you and I were born, I think the highest marginal tax bracket was 91%.
Right.
Now we're looking at the lowest recent tax brackets in recent history. Come 2026, January 1st, 2026, they're going to bump back up to where they were when President Obama was in office, unless somebody does something different. But I'm anticipating to go even higher than that.
Really?
Because we got to cover ourselves. And that's, no one's talking about it because it's an election year, so no one's talking about that. But that's going to become part of the conversation down the road.
And you're right, but it's always an election year.
Yeah.
Right. Right now we're in an election year for president.
Right.
Right after we inaugurate whoever becomes president. Then we're going to be in an election year for Congress people.
Right.
So the representatives aren't going to want to raise taxes when they're coming up. And the one thing I think most people will understand is the only thing that politicians really want is re-election.
That's true. Power and re-election. That's
Power
it.
and re-election.
That's it.
You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Eric Bell when we come back. 3 must-dos when selling your house in 2024 and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. 3 must-dos when selling your house in 2024. One of the goals on your list is selling your house and making a move this year. You're likely juggling a mix of excitement about what's ahead and feeling a little sentimental about your current home. Great way to balance those emotions and make sure you're confident in your decision is to keep these 3 best practices in mind when you're ready to sell. Number 1, price your home right. The housing market shifted in 2023 as mortgage rates rose and home price appreciation started to normalize once again. As a seller, you still need to recognize how important it is to price your house appropriately based on where the market is today. Hannah Jones, economic research analyst for Realtor.com, explains, quote, sellers need to become familiar with their local market and work closely with local agent to make sure their listing is attractive to buyers. Buyers feeling the pressure of affordability are likely to be pickier, so a well-priced, well-maintained home is the ticket to drumming up big demand, unquote. If you want to know where your market is, rsrlistana.com, rsrlistana.com. Fill that out and then put your zip code in there that you want, and we'll send you more data than you want to know about your zip code. If you price your house too high, you run the risk of deterring buyers. And if you go too low, you're leaving money on the table. And an experienced real estate agent can help determine what your ideal asking price should be so your house moves quickly and for top dollar. I like to price a little bit below market and create a bidding war. The market will bring the price up. Number 2, keep your emotions in check. Today, homeowners are staying in their houses longer than they used to, according to the National Association of Realtors, NAR. Since 1985, the average time a homeowner has owned their home has increased from 6 to 10 years. And you can see that on the chart if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed. You can see that it used to be about 6 years, but more recently, it's about 10 years we stay in the home. This is much more than what used to be the norm. Side effect, however, is when you stay in one place for so long, you may get even more emotionally attached to your space. If it's the first home you bought or the house where your loved ones grew up, it very likely means something extra special to you. Every room has memories, and it's hard to detach from the sentimental value. For some reason, for some homeowners, that makes it even tougher to separate the emotional value of the house from fair market price. That's why you need a real estate professional to help you with negotiations and the best pricing strategy along the way. Trust the professionals who have your best interest in mind. Number 3, stage your home properly. While you may love your decor and how you've customized your house over the years, not all buyers are going to feel the same way about your vibe. That's why it's important to make sure you focus on your home's first impression so it appeals to as many buyers as possible. Buyers want to be able to picture themselves in the home. They need to make themselves inside. They need to see themselves inside with their furniture and keepsakes, not your pictures and decorations. As Jessica Lotz, Deputy Chief Economist and Vice President of Research at NAR says, quote, buyers want to easily envision themselves within a new home, and home staging is a way to showcase the property in its best light, unquote. You may love your pictures of Hawaii, but the buyer needs to picture themselves there, not you. Real estate professionals help. Again, if you're considering selling your house, let's connect. Give me a call, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with a real estate professional who can help you. That is the Mortgage Minute, or the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Eric Bell, Bell Insurance Solutions, is with us this morning talking about, it's interesting, Bell Insurance Solutions. And we've been talking about taxes. Well, why do we talk about taxes? Well, everybody has to deal with them. And some people have a solution, Eric Bell, about maybe there's a way to defer them, make a little more money with your money before you have to give it to the government, have strategies where maybe the government doesn't get quite as much. So let's chat about some of those ideas. So what's your thought on that, Eric? Is there ways that we can strategize to minimize our current tax liability?
Yeah, I think for people trying to save for retirement, everyone's doing the 401k, 403b, 457, 401a, things of that sort. But when you think about it, right now, your effective tax rate, not your marginal tax rate, is a lot lower than what you think you're paying, and you don't have that much of a tax savings.
Explain that a little bit.
Well, your marginal tax rate is the last dollar that you pay taxes on that tax bracket.
Okay.
So 24%, 37%, whatever it is, how much money you make. But your effective tax rate, we have a progressive tax system, is kind of the average of all those different tax brackets up to your last dollar.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So someone in a 24% tax bracket on their last dollar, for example, their effective tax rate is probably in the 18, 17% range.
Okay. So you get that by just dividing your tax liability by your income. Is that how you figure that out?
Yeah, that's basically what you're doing. Yeah, that's basically what you're doing. But your CPA can give you more accurate number. Your enroll agent can give you a more accurate number for you specifically based on your deductions. But one of the biggest fears I think people have is outliving their money.
Right.
So, how do you do that? When you look at a 401k, all those different things, you put money in while you're being taxed. It was kind of a deduction for you. But now you're going to have to pay taxes possibly in a higher tax environment. We were just talking about how taxes have to go up. So now you got to pay taxes in a higher tax environment. I'm a proponent of taking after-tax dollars right now and putting it into an index universal life, seeing that money grow on a tax-free basis. Historically, the returns have been 7% or greater. You can be in the market, and then now you can pull the money out, principal, interest, and any earnings that you have on a tax-free basis. So building tax-free streams of income, just doing some asset shifting. I would bet, Ron, most of your listeners are savers because they're listening to you. So it's just doing some asset shifting. If you got 3% match at your company on a 401k, do it up to 3% because that's free money. Anything over and above that, you want to go ahead and shift it into what I would think an index universal life.
And you and I never even talked about this concept until we got here this morning. I've been talking about index universal life policies for 25 years now.
Oh, yeah.
And people look at them, and I'm going to throw a little bit of math here before we continue our conversation. Let's just throw a little bit of math. If you put $300 into your 401k, what is your goal? Your goal is for that to grow to, say, $3,000. I'm just using small numbers. If you're in a 30% tax bracket, right now you're paying $90 on that. And the idea is that, did I do that math right? If it goes to $3,000, you're going to pay about $1,000, $900 on that. Would you rather pay $90 in taxes or $900 in taxes? Simple math.
Simple math. Real simple. But
Right?
just a lot of people don't look at it.
Right, because they don't know that there's they don't know there's other options.
No, they don't. And the other options have been tainted over history. Insurance was a bad word. I remember when you and I were brokerage people, we were selling stocks and bonds. Insurance people were considered sleazy.
Right.
Plus the products weren't what they are today. They've made a lot of improvements in the products today.
And I know that there's some products out there that'll even give you a downside guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So they protect you so you don't lose money.
One of the things your listeners want to watch out for is if you're doing an accumulation strategy within an index universal life, you'll have an odd number, a very minimal number wrapped around the cash to keep it tax-free. So it won't be $1 million policy. It'd be like, if you're putting 30 grand, it'd be like $127,432, some odd number. And every year you put more in, that number will creep up. So
when I used to do it, and I don't know if it's still the same way, when I used to do these, you basically were looking for a low death benefit.
Correct.
And a high cash value.
Exactly. For cash accumulation.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you were borrowing against it instead of taking income.
That's right.
So it's kind of like a mortgage refinance. When you refinance a loan, you don't pay taxes on the money you're taking out because you're borrowing it.
That's right. Now, when you pass away, that money will be offset by your death benefit, but your beneficiaries will still walk away with something. So I like that self-completion also.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits there that people don't think about. And it's not that, the biggest part of it, in my opinion, is just it's the ignorance, right? We don't know what we don't know. So why would we know it?
Yeah. Ignorance is not bliss. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, like you said, people think life insurance. Well, I'm never going to see that money. So, when I die, my heirs will get it, but I need to be able to live when I retire. And they don't think of it as a retirement strategy.
Well, okay. It's a retirement strategy, what we were just talking about,
Right.
but you can also use it for protection. And you and I were talking about this before the show, about having a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider on it. I think that's something that a lot of people need to take a look at if they haven't looked at it already.
Explain that a little bit. What's a long-term care rider?
Well, I'll use myself as an example. I have a $1 million policy. And in that $1 million policy, because I have what they call a long-term care rider, if I became sick and needed the money for health reasons, I can pull out a max of $20,000 a year if I needed it.
Okay.
Now, right now, nothing costs really that much, but I'm looking 30, 40 years out, hopefully, that I might need it. If not, now, if I don't need it for long-term care and I pass away,
$20,000 a year,
$20,000 a month.
A month. Wow.
Yeah, $20,000 a month.
Okay.
Now, if I don't use it and I pass away, have a heart attack or something like that, at least $1 million is going to my trust. So it's not a use it or lose it type of proposition.
And so there's another component of what we talk about. So your insurance goes to your trust.
Correct.
Okay. Now, do most people have their insurance in their trust or insurance outside the trust?
I think most people have their insurance outside the trust.
Okay.
The beneficiary of my insurance policies are on my trust because
Okay.
I have a complex family configuration. So married, second time, I got children, stepchildren, as well as children. Want to try to take care of everybody, and including my current wife, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So again, those issues are all things that you don't find when you go on google.com, right? So some people have it in their trust. Some people don't have their insurance in their trust. Eric just described in his situation what his situation is. Yours may or may not be the exact same, which is why you consult with a professional insurance person. You consult with a professional or a licensed attorney. You consult with a CPA, and you have all these people. And now it's even easier because it used to be, 20 years ago, you'd have to go and meet them all.
Yeah.
Now you set up a Zoom meeting and you
That's
have
it.
everybody together.
There you go. That's it.
Right?
Like we said early on, a team. You got to have a team.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Eric Bell. We're going to talk about businesses and some of these strategies. We'll see if there's anything, if you're a business owner, you can do. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down, sure. We might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. As usual, I talk too much, so I want to have more time to chat with Eric Bell. So what we're going to do is we're going to just tell you the Your Credit Matters segment, if I gave you any information in there, is brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. They all are. Credit Sanitizer helps you. You can go to CreditSanitizer.com, or if you want to get out of debt, RSRNoDebt.com. RSRNoDebt.com. Many solutions for getting you out of debt. Use some of your equity in your home. If you don't have equity in your home, we put you in touch with Chris Corrales. He'll help you get out of debt legally without the bankruptcy, maybe even the playing field, and not have to deal with some of these other issues. And instead of maybe 30% interest, maybe you're going down to 5 or 10% interest, and helping the financial institution as well. RSRNoDebt.com. Continue our conversation. We're chatting with Eric Bell this morning, talking about tax strategies and insurance strategies. Insurance, for those of you that haven't been listening to Ron Siegel Radio, We actually did a segment. Josh, I don't know if you have the link for it, but we did a segment. I've done it for 20 years now. It's how to retire on $15,000 a month with no 401k, no IRA, and just using your mortgage. And part of the thing I've been talking about for 25 years is exactly what Eric Bell just told us about, was using that indexed universal life policy. Now, you've got to do it the right way, and I'm not going to get into the specifics. If you want the specifics, you've got to call Eric Bell and talk to him about it. But there's something called a MEC, and you don't want that.
Nope.
So you have to do this the right way and make sure that you're not just going and putting a boatload of money in. But Eric, I did this class over at Chapman University, and I was talking about retiring on $15,000 a month with no 401k, no IRA. Every 5 years, you take out all of the equity out of your real estate and put that money. And again, I am not giving financial advice because FINRA doesn't like this. Take that money and put it into a IUL, Index Universal Life Policy, and watch it grow while your real estate grows. And after 15 years, you're going to have about $18,000 after your mortgage payment.
And that real estate deduction is also deductible. Mortgage payments are deductible.
Right.
The interest on mortgage payments is deductible. Yeah.
So
it's a win-win.
Yeah. So you're helping yourself. But again, Merrill Lynch didn't like this. FINRA didn't like this because they don't want you to borrow money to make money. It's crazy. But the bottom line is, so let's talk about businesses. Is there a way that a business might be able to use some of these strategies to minimize their liabilities?
Well, yeah, businesses. There's a tax code called 831B.
Okay.
Which was for captive insurance companies. Those are under heavy scrutiny by the IRS now. The thing I didn't like about it is that you had to use a lot of capital. I think the limit now is $2 million. You put that $2 million to a captive insurance company to reduce your overall taxable liability, but you could have probably used that to hire more employees, buy more machinery, or whatever you're doing. There's another way to do it, which is not under IRS scrutiny because it's real insurance, and you don't have to pay a lot to put it together. So what you're doing is you're inserting something, an expense against your gross, something that could possibly be insured, but probably will never have a claim. So possibly insured, but never a claim. And also that premium gets financed at 90%. So you don't have to come up with 10%, but you get the full effect of the overall deduction against your gross income.
Think about, so these are just strategies to minimize your tax liability. Now, let me ask you this one, and I think I know the answer, but if I have a small corporation, a family corporation, myself and my wife, and maybe my kids, is the corporation allowed to buy life insurance for us as part of our compensation plan?
Yeah, there's you can do that as part of compensation as a deferred comp. There's other ways to do it. We can do it for a tax-free comp also. I could share that with listeners if I ever talk to them. And then there's also key man insurance, key person insurance, things of that sort. That if one of the owners died or one of the key people died, you'd be able to replace their income or replace them supposedly with a life insurance policy.
Well, and that's important for partnerships, especially
because, you don't want to be I may not want to be in business with my partner's husband or my partner's wife,
right?
Because they don't know what I know. And now we got a big fight. So I can just pay them off and they'll be happy and we keep walking. Yeah.
And that's something I've watched over time where you need to have the insurance, but you also have to have the contract set up between the parties.
Exactly.
Because if you miss one or the other, then, I watched it where one of the partners died and the partner got the insurance money, the $1 million insurance money. Corporation was paying it, but there was no contract in place.
Yeah.
So he never paid it to the deceased partner's wife.
Well, and a lack of coordination. We talked about it earlier, Ron. It's a team effort. You got to bring in the business attorney. You got to bring in everybody when you're doing stuff like this to make sure it's going to work out.
And you have to follow their guidance. I mean, if you don't like the guidance, that's one thing, but follow the guidance or confirm the guidance so you have it from the estate planning standpoint, in the tax standpoint, and the insurance and the financial advisors, and get everybody together and make sure you really all are on the same page.
Yeah, and the guidance needs to be there just so you can go ahead and just think about it. Have some options. If you don't have the guidance, you don't have any options. So you don't know what you're doing. You're just traveling blind, basically.
And one of the beauties, I just consulted with some folks over the weekend about the reverse mortgage. And I was telling them, I gave the people there a high level of it. And one of the folks said, I want you to talk to my son about this. And I said, here's what we do is we set up a Zoom call between you, your son, and myself. And if you want to bring your financial people on, that's fine too. But we record it. And that way, when you forget, which we all do, none of us can comprehend 100% of every conversation, you can refer to it. And I'm going to submit that you have a consultation with Eric Bell, and your CPA is on the line with you, and maybe your state attorney or whomever. If that's done on a Zoom call and it's recorded, we can go back and reference it as a reference guide down the road.
Yep, I agree. One of the other things, Ron, when we think about it is a lot of people. So we talked about an ongoing concern, a business that's continuing to go right now, but there's a lot of people selling businesses and selling commercial real estate.
Right.
So they have huge capital gains that they have to pay. There's several ways to defer it: deferred sales trust, Delaware statutory trust. There's all kind of different ways to defer a tax, but there's also ways to eliminate a tax. And I always tell people we got one tax code, but we got two tax systems. One tax code, but two tax systems. One tax system for those who are informed and one for those who are uninformed. That's simple. So be informed. So be informed.
And something, it's very fascinating that you say that, because so many people look at it and they say, well, Warren Buffett doesn't pay the taxes that his secretary pays. Well, he pays more in total dollars, which is really all that matters.
Right.
But the bottom line is, I bet he pays more to the attorneys to minimize his tax liability than his secretary probably makes.
Oh yeah.
He's got formed.
Well, and Donald Trump kind of said it in one way. He said, I don't pay a lot in taxes because I got good advisors. Don't be mad at me because I have good advisors and you don't.
Right.
So that's kind of it's kind of a backhanded slap in the face, but that's what he said. Yeah.
But it's true.
And it's true. It's
right?
true.
Because he's not doing anything that
that's out of
Congress.
Tax code.
Yeah, he's not doing anything that Congress didn't approve.
No.
Now, if Congress doesn't like that he's doing it, change the tax code.
That's right.
Right. That's their part of the system. It's our job to pay what we have to, and sometimes you have to pay somebody. And I don't know, Eric. I'll throw this to your thoughts as well. I feel that great advice generally costs nothing.
That's true compared to what a lack of great advice would be.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? I mean, if you use Warren Buffett, you use Donald Trump, you use whomever you want to, not Hunter Biden, but because that might be the wrong way of going about it. But you use these systems and you hire these really good people, and they'll keep you out of trouble long term. And especially in insurance, it can help you tremendously long term, because a lot of people are looking at it and saying, well, long-term care is no longer available. Well, if you go out and just go online and Google long-term care, you might find that maybe it is too expensive. But that rider you talked about.
Well, what's going to really be expensive if you don't have it.
Right.
We were talking about my mom and our parents and stuff and things that are going on. If I didn't have the long-term care policy in place for my mom that I put in place in 1996, we'd have to liquidate one of her homes or pull cash flow from her rental property, but we don't have to do that. She's fully covered.
And that's called planning.
Planning, exactly.
Right. You put a plan in place, and off you go. If you want to meet Eric Bell, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I'd be more than happy to put you in touch. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items that affect the house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.